First, before we start, those who have seen my YouTubes and those who have listened to me before, pardon the repetition, but before we start, the word Upanishad and then on to the Upanishad. The word Upanishad is a very interesting word. If you understand the word Upanishad, then you have kind of understood the Upanishads. Because it consists of Upa, Ni and Shad. 3 syllables split. So, the first syllable, Upa, means to come closer. I am very happy today that many of you who were sitting down and far have come closer today on the chairs. And that's because of the blessing of the rain gods. So, here we are. So, Upa means, I hope this sitting close will not just be physical. So, Upa means to move close, because in those days, there were no microphones, loudspeakers, there was nothing. So the students seriously interested in understanding the wisdom of the teachings sat close to the teacher and learned. And it was, therefore, the teachers were not people with loud voices screaming, they talked softly. And therefore it was also called the Rahasya, the secret of the entire Vedas. So, to sit close physically is one thing. The thing is, you can sit very close physically here also, and yet your ears and mind may be traveling on MG road. So, sitting close, Upa, also means bringing the mind closer between the teacher and the taught. Both. Both are important. If the teacher is distracted, won't work. If the student is distracted, it won't work. Therefore, the sloka we chanted yesterday, I said, which I will begin with today, Om Sahana Bhavatu, may both of us be protected from distractions. Physically, yes. Sahana Bhavatu, may both of us be protected from the rain for an hour. And also may the mind be protected from distractions. So, that is Upa. The other meaning of Upa is very interesting. If you read some of the great commentaries of Shankara, for instance, or there are other Ramanuja, Acharya, there is Madhva, there are any, because the truth that we are looking at is so wide and vast that there are different ways of looking at it, different angles of looking at it. So in all this you will find one thing, that Upa is in some of the commentaries described as the mind going as close as possible to the understanding of the supreme reality. As close as possible. Now there is a little bit of difference of opinion. Madhva says you can only go close. Shankara says you can go closer. Ramanuja says you can go close, you may not be able to go close. I mean, there is Advaita, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita, and so on. Don't worry too much about that, except that they all had some understanding of what's being said in their own way. We have no quarrel with anybody. Anyway, we are not qualified to quarrel with anybody. So close means to go as close as possible to the understanding of what has been said in the Upanishad. So what happens when you go very close? There is no you. Then there is only the reality. That's one way of looking at it. So going close also means that you cannot become infinite because you are finite. As a finite being, you cannot become infinite. But when the finite being comes so close that the fire of the reality burns down the finite and there is nothing left, there is only that. This is another meaning of the word Upa. Well, we can go into several meanings because the language is Sanskrit. Please understand. So this is enough for us. You and me, householders, this is enough. So, this is Upa. To move close. To go so close that there is only that. That the firefly going close to the flame, when it goes too close, it's burnt and finished. But it doesn't stop going. Shamma and the Parvana. The lamp is burning and the moth is always going closer and closer. But it's happy to disappear. Upa. I hope you would have looked into this at some point. And then Shad. Ni is a connecting between Upa and Shad. But Shad is important to look at. Shad means sit down. You're sitting down. Can you stand up and heal? Man from Korea? No. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. So, you have to sit. When you say sit, one, physically sit. Because when you're sitting here, I know that you're interested. When you get up, I know that it's time to go. You're distracted. So sitting down is a sign of having settled down to listen to what is being said. Part one. The other shad, sitting down, means, can you guess? The mind also sits down. Now you can sit here, but the mind can be wandering here and there, up and down, may go to spastic society and come back. Anything can happen. Or it can go to Washington, D.C. So what I mean to say is when you sit down, not only physically sit, but also allow the mind to settle down. If both these things are there, to move closer, the intention to move closer to the truth, where you can even ready to move so close that you're burnt, and to be able to settle your mind down completely, absolutely quiet and calm, all the vrittis of chitta being removed, then there is no need of any other Upanishadic study. This is what the Upanishad wants you to do. So, the entire meaning of the Upanishad is covered by the title, by the word Upanishad. Ini is a connecting link which shows the relationship between the teacher and the taught, where the one who is taught sits down with the understanding that I don't know. नीचे मैं ऊपर बैठा हूँ, आप नीचे बैठे हैं. नीचे means I'm open to understand. Now, if I think I know, then I want to open my mind to understand. So, ni also means to sit down as like an empty vessel. Even though you may be carrying something, keep it away for some time. Keep the vessel empty so that when something is poured, it goes in. Otherwise, there is no space. Into crowded brains with so many thoughts and so many things. This is another meaning. So, if these three things come together, we are the Upanishad. Okay. Now, Upanishad is the major text which is called the Vedanta. Why Vedanta? For literary reasons it's called Vedanta because it comes at the end of the Vedas. There is the Samhita portion, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, for Samhitas. And then we have the Brahmanas, describe the rituals and so on. Then you have the Aranyakas, which kind of start going towards the Upanishad. Teachings which were given in the forest, in the Aranyas, so Aranyakas. If you read, you will find that many Upanishads overlap the Aranyakas. So from the Aranyakas, you slowly shift on to Upanishad, which is the last portion. Now when you say last portion, it's still included in the Vedas, please remember. It's not outside, but end of the Vedas. Therefore, it's called Veda Anta, end of the Vedas. It also means that when the essence of the teachings of the Vedas are understood through the Upanishads, one does not need to learn anything more. End of all learning is over. That's also the reason why it's called Vedanta. So, having said this, now we will proceed with, there are 11 principal Upanishads. Why 11 principal Upanishads? Because They have been commented on by all the great acharyas. After that, there are other Upanishads, minor Upanishads. There are also important Yoga Upanishads, Upanishads that teach practically about yoga also. But the oldest are the 11 principal Upanishads, and among them we have the Katha Upanishad, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Isha Vashya Upanishad, the Kena Upanishad, and so on. There are about 11 Upanishads, Chandogya and so on. So today, I want to go into the Katha Upanishad. It is the Shanti mantra of the Katha Upanishad that I said we will start with today, which is Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanao Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamasthuma Vidvishavahai, which means, may both of us, you and I, be protected. May you and I be nourished, not only with idli sambar, but also with mind and understanding. May we be nourished. Sahaviryam karavavahai. Let our vitality increase. Usually we waste so much of our vitality that there is no vitality left when we begin to get interested in the study. So may our vitality, virya, tejasvina vaditamastu. When that happens, the tejas or the glow of the spiritual increases. So may it increase in you and me. There's a drop of water from the people tree over that. Then, ma vidvishavahai. This is a dialogue. It's a samvad. It's not an argument. Right? So, this is the beginning of the Katha Upanishad. Now, although I would like to do it in English, it will be nice to sometimes read a little bit in Sanskrit. You don't mind? Well, the Katha Upanishad, yogis also need glasses. Huh? The Katha Upanishad, also called Kathaka Upanishad, is from the Yajurveda, from the Taittiriya section of the Yajurveda. And it's a discussion and dialogue between this young boy Nachiketas and the Lord of Death, Yamadeva. Interesting. And then he asks some important questions and Yama provides the answers to them. This is the Katha Upanishad. It forms, so it begins like this. I think I don't want to commit mistakes. Do Sanskrit, be careful. Chapter 1, section 1. I'm not going to the whole Upanishad, don't worry. Ushana, Havai, Vajashravasah, Sarvavedasam dadau, Tasyaha Nachiketa nama putra asa. Desirous of giving away all that he possessed in the sacrifice called Vishvajit. What is the meaning of Vishvajit? Win the universe. The great Rishi Vajashravasa, who was the father of Nachiketas, wanted to perform the Vishvajit sacrifice to give away everything. What for? To win the whole world. See, nobody gives away anything for nothing. A meaning of the word sacrifice is to give what is important to us. If you don't sacrifice your time to study from other activities, you cannot study, right? In the same way, some sacrifice has to be made. It says that Brihaspati sacrificed himself to create the world. Nothing is possible without a sacrifice, even in this world. Now, Vajashravasa, the great Rishi, was giving away everything as offerings in the sacrifice so that he may become the ruler of the world, or rather, he may win the earth. And not earth, the universe. Vishwa is not just the earth, not Bhumi. And he had a son. whose name was Nachiketas. Small boy, young boy, but smart boy, full of tejas, full of virya, and full of shraddha. But then, while he was giving away the gifts to those who had come to officiate in the sacrifice, giving away everything, the boy Nachiketas, being an intelligent boy who was full of shraddha. What does shraddha mean? People usually think shraddha means faith. Yes, that's one partial explanation of shraddha. Shraddha means the inner conviction which begins to question whether your outer performance in the outer world and not being concerned with the inner is enough. This is Shraddha. In Malayalam, Shraddha means attention. So that's also another meaning of Shraddha, one-pointed attention. In Malayalam, 40% comes from Sanskrit. So, the other is, Shraddha also means the understanding somewhere that is it enough just to satisfy and win the Vishwa, or is there something else to be found within? This thought occurs, then Shraddha. So Nachiketas, this thought occurred to him when he saw his father giving away the gifts to the priests who had come for the sacrifice. So, Tamha Kumaram Santam Dakshinasu Niyamanasu Shraddha Vishesha Somanyata. So the Shraddha entered into him, and he said, as the gifts were being taken by the priests, Shraddha entered him, and though a mere boy, just a Kumaram, he thought, what is happening here? He thought, that's coming in the next sloka. The thought occurred to him, what is this going on? What is my father doing? Is he really giving away all that he has, his valuables? Why? Because Pitodaka Jagdhatrina Dugdha Doha Nirindriya Ananda Nama Te Lokas Tansa Gachata Tadadat. That means their water drunk, their grass eaten, their milk milked, their strength spent. Joyless, verily, are these worlds to which he who presents such cows goes. The Shraddha entered into Nachiketas. His father was giving away cows which were lame and blind and no milk and dry. That everything was over and he had no need for them. So he was giving it away. And the thought occurred, is this a sacrifice? Is this giving away? What are you giving? This is like your clothes have become so old and torn that you want to give it away to somebody. Which is good, better than keeping it in the trunk. But is that giving away? This thought entered. So, what happened? Sa hovacha pitaram tatha kasmai mam dashyasiti dvitiyam tritiyam tam hovacha mritve tva dadhamiti. So when this faith, this Shraddha entered, this thought entered his heart, this little boy asked his father, "Oh sire, to whom will you give me? Because I am the most valuable possession that you have. It's all right with these no milk cows and dry, lame and deaf and blind you are giving away. Is this a sacrifice? I am your dearest and the nearest. Who will you give me to?" Not only once, he asked it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, he said, "Please, who will you give me to? I am your most valuable possession." You can see this happen many times. I knew a family whose son was very close to a sannyasi. And the whole family was very close to the sannyasi. I don't want to name. And they used to look after him, his needs and everything. Then one day, the son decided to take sannyas and join the Swamiji. That is the end of all relationship. Why? The dearest and the nearest was going to shave his head and become you lost. So Nachiketa said, who will you give me to? I am your nearest and dearest. Not once, but twice, but thrice. And the father, some commentators say that the Rishi got angry and said, I give you away to death. What does he say? Mrityave tva dadhamiti. I will give you away to death. But I differ from this opinion, this commentary. I would say that the father, being a great Rishi himself, was trying to test this boy and make him understand what it means to go to death. Cannot be that he got angry and sent him. It is impossible for Vajrasavasa to get angry and send his son to hell. To death. So, a Rishi, when he says something, it works because he speaks only the truth. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, if you speak complete truth for 12 years, even if you utter something, it might end up as the truth. So he said, I will send you to death. And because he was a Rishi, he uttered it, he actually went to death. Nachiketas. So, Nachiketas was concerned. He thought about it and he said, of many sons and disciples, my father considers me as the first. Bahuna memi prathamaha, bahuna memi madhyamaha, kim swit yamasya kartavyam yan mayadhya karishyati. Nachiketas said, of many sons and disciples, he considers me as the best. He considers me best from the middle and the lowest. He considers me the best. What duty towards the Lord of Death he has, that he sends me to him, that he has to accomplish through me? The answer is, he had to accomplish the Upanishads, which today we all hear, because the father has told the son, okay, go to Yama, I give you to death. It was a sacrifice, real sacrifice. And then there is some description about it. Okay. Then Nachiketas enters the house of death of Yama. He enters his head office. Vaishvanara pravishati athitir brahmano grihan tasyaitam shantim kurvanti hara vaivashvatodakam. As a very fire that a Brahmana means what? Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati, one who understands the Brahman, enters into the houses and people offer the peace offering to him. Bring water, O son of the sun. Hope and expectation, friendship and joy, sacrifice and good works, sons, cattle, all are taken away from a person of little understanding, in whose house a learned one enters and remains unfed and unlooked after. Not today we need to pay money to eat, but you know what? If a learned one enters the house, if you don't look after him or feed him, then says the Upanishad, hope and expectation, friendship and joy, pratikshe samagatam sunartham, everything goes away. So, now what happens? This young man burning with the fire of knowledge, who's asked the question with Shraddha, who is the son of Ajasravasa, enters the house of Yama, the Lord of Death. Why this statement is made? Because Yama is not there. He's gone to bring some other souls. This is an untimely thing that even Yama did not expect. Normally, we don't expect Yama. We don't know when he comes. But here, the trick is that Yama did not expect that this boy will suddenly come here. So he is gone somewhere else. And then he comes back and is all agitated. Yama. He says, since you, a venerable guest, has stayed in my house without food for 3 nights. So Nachiketas is waiting in the administrative block for 3 days without food. No water, no food. Therefore he says, I make obeisance to thee, Yama. Yama says to this young boy, Nachiketa, since I have not offered you food, you have stayed in my house for 3 days without food or water, I bow down to you. I offer obeisances to you. Oh Brahmana, may it be well with me. Yama says, may I be okay that I have done this to you. Therefore, in return, it's an exchange. Therefore, in return, choose 3 gifts. It says, Tasmat prati trina varam vrinishva. Ask me for 3 gifts, 3 boons, and I shall grant it to you in exchange for the 3 days. Now, this is very interesting. First thing that this young boy says, that my father, Vajashravasa, with allayed anxiety, with anger gone, may be gracious to me, O death, Lord of death, and recognizing me, greet me, and when set free by you. This I choose as the first gift of the 3. Nachiketa, when I go back, may my father say, okay son, come back. Let him not be upset with me for asking the questions. The other is, it also means that may he recognize me, which means what? Here is a boy who has come face to face with death. And you will see that he has learned the answers of how to face death and what to find out about death and to study about deathlessness. Mrityorma amratam gamaya. From death to immortality. So then if such a thing happens, some change not only happens inside but also outside. So it is changed inner and outer when I enter. May my father recognize, oh, this is my Nachiketas, and may he welcome me back. And now this is my first. So the other thing to remember, even though his father said go to Yama, Nachiketas is not upset with him. Nachiketas says, may he welcome me back, recognize me. This is his first boon. Okay. And the second boon, and Yama says, not to worry. Don't worry, Nachiketas. As of old, he will recognize thee. Through my favor will he sleep peacefully through the nights, his anger gone. Seeing thee released from the jaws of death, he will be very happy. Don't worry about that. So first, physical discomfort is allayed. Then the next. Then Nachiketas says, Sorge loke na bhayam kimchana. If I read, then we will finish, say 7:13. Nachiketas says, in the world of heaven, there is no fear whatever. Thou art not there. Nor does one fear old age. Crossing over both hunger and thirst, leaving sorrow behind, one rejoices in the world of heaven. You know, O Lord of Death, that sacrifice which will take me to heaven, where my good deeds are never exhausted. Okay, full of faith. The dwellers in heaven live in happiness. This I choose as my second boon. show me that place or that state where the good acts and the good effects of all my karmas, my deeds, are not ever finished. That I keep getting blessed on and on in heaven. May I be in heaven. Still it's only up to heaven level. It's only up to bhuva, swa, swarga. Jana, maha, tapa still remaining. So he says, can I teach me that sacrifice by which I can be ageless and remain enjoying all the fruits of heaven? That's what most of us desire. Who wants moksha? In fact, many people ask me, if you do kriya, can we live forever like Babaji? I said, sorry, I am also going to die. So Yama said, knowing well as I do, that sacrifice, which is the aid to heaven, that fire, he says actually, that fire, Agnim, which is the aid to reach heaven, of a place where, a state where all your good deeds will be endlessly rewarded. Know that fire to be the means of attaining this boundless world. You, as the support of the universe, is abiding in the secret place, guhyam, nihitam guhyam, tvamitam nihitam guhyam. Understand that that fire which you seek is nowhere else but abiding in your own secret cavity in yourself. The Purusha Shukta, when Mahavishnu is described as the supreme realities, Purusha is described, not Mahavishnu. Let's not say Mahavishnu at the moment. Let's say Purusha. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapada Sabhruvim Vishwator Atyatishthita Dashangulam. That boundless, countless headed, countless eyed, countless feet, countless hands, finally you find it 10 angulas above your navel, inside, living. So he says that secret sacrifice which you ask is in the secret cavity in your own being. And that is the fire of the desire for spiritual fulfillment. The fire. You know the fire, Agnim, is supposed to be the greatest of the lords, of the gods. Why? Because he's called the Jata Vedas. There is nothing that can escape the fire. Not only physical fire, but also the other fire. What is that? Digestion is a kind of fire. Combustion is the right word, not fire. Digestion. Without the digestive fire, when you are really interested in something, you are fired with enthusiasm, right? You are not watered with enthusiasm. You are fired. Agni, fire. And fire is a symbol which you light in a piece of straw and it always moves up. You can hold the straw down. Have you ever tried holding a candle? You'll burn your fingers because the flame will always go up. It's a perfect symbol of the spirit. Up. Upward. Agnim. And any desire that we have is a fire. Sometimes it's so strong that it burns you up. What do we call our old girlfriend? Old flame or old water? Fire. The fire of desire. So, this fire, which takes you to immortality, which is the desire for perfection. In Nachiketa's case, it is the desire for absolute perfection. Says Yama, it will keep burning in you all the time, I assure you. I grant you that boon. Not only that, he says that from now on, since I am delighted by your question, will be called the fire of Nachiketas. This is the Nachiketa sacrifice, Nachiketa Yajna, which means that fire which takes you to immortality. No, sorry, That is the next. The fire that takes you to happiness and everlasting fulfillment. Granted, 2 boons are over. Now comes the 3rd boon. The great Yama, extremely delighted, said to Nachiketas, I give you another boon. What is that? By your own name will this fire be known. He who has lit the Nachiketas fire thrice, performs the 3 acts, crosses over birth and death, and reaches that state which is omniscient, where you understand everything, and attains everlasting peace. This is thy fire, O Nachiketas, which leads you to heaven. This is the 2nd boon that you have chosen. From now on, people will call this the Nachiketas sacrifice. Okay. Then Nachiketas has the 3rd wish, which is the most important question. The 3rd boon. He says, there is this doubt in regard to a man who has departed. Some say that he is, and some say that he is not. I mean, it's there even today. It is 1,000 years old, but it's even here today. Some say he is not. I would be instructed by you in this knowledge. Of the boons, this is the 3rd boon I ask. Is there death? Or can one be free of death? Who else can answer this other than you, who is the Lord of Death? This is the 3rd boon I ask. Can you grant this to me? Yama said, even the gods of old had doubts on this point. It is not easy to understand. So subtle is this truth that I would wish you choose another boon. Nachiketas, don't press me too much. Release me from this. Because I told you to ask for 3 boons. Now I am saying, don't ask me, don't press me. Even the gods of old were doubtful on this. So please don't apply pressure on me. Leave me. Ask me for another boon. I'll give it to you. Why do you want this boon of finding out whether one can be free of death forever? Not physically, okay? Free of death means to understand the fact that one never dies. Not that the physical body will of course die, everybody knows that. So, that secret I can't give you right now. Yama is testing him. Yama says, I will give you, people come and say, oh, teach me how to attain immortal. Ooh, first of all, you are not ready to sacrifice one lunch or dinner. I am so hungry, I can't meditate. Yama says, okay, this is a serious question. Can you ask for something else? Then Yama says, gives him a list. Choose sons and grandsons who shall live 100 years. Ask for cattle in plenty, elephants, gold and horses. Now in those days, elephants means Mercs and BMWs. Yeah? Give me. Choose sons and grandsons that shall live 100 years, cattle in plenty, elephants, gold and horses. Choose vast expanses of land, and life for thyself as many years as thou wilt. Ask for all that. If thou deemest any boon like unto this, choose wealth and long life, O Nachiketas. Prosper on this vast earth. I will make you the enjoyer of all desires. What an offer. Whatever desires are hard to attain in this world of mortals, ask for all those desires at thy will. Here are noble maidens. He is also offering maidens with chariots and musical instruments. The like of them cannot be won by ordinary men. Be served by these, whom I give to thee, O Nachiketas, but don't ask me about death. Now, suppose you go or I go and I don't go. Suppose you go to a guru and say, I want to learn about immortality or teach me Kriya, how to reach there. And the guru says, listen, 3 BMWs, 1, 2, 3 keys, 1 Mercedes, 10 acres of land with a bungalow. Here, take it and go. Don't ask me what is. What is the reaction? Thank you very much, Guruji. You are the greatest guru in the whole universe. I bow down to you. Namo Narayana. And go. Nachiketas, he says, keep your song and dance to yourself. To Yama. I don't want these things. Who wants these things? See this? This is the sign of an aspirant or a real disciple or an inquirer who wants to find out the truth. A real inquirer who wants to find out the meaning of the Upanishads, who is aware of the facts of life. And what does Nachiket say? Very interesting. Nachiket says, Swabhava martyasya tad antakaitat sarvendrinam jarayanti tejaha. Transient are these things which are offering me. They wear out. Goyama, the vigor of all the senses of men also wear out after some time. All life is so brief, moreover. So keep your chariots, keep your song, keep your dance with you. He even says, Tava Nritya Gite, keep them all with you. Yours, I don't want them. And man is not to be contented with wealth. We all know that, right? However much wealth you get, you will never get contented. That's why they say, Annadanam is the best dhan. You give somebody money, 100, give some more. 1,000, little more. Give food after a full meal. Then you say, little more food. You know I can't eat. This is, I'm fully sad. You see? But wealth, no. There is no end to it. So, he says, man is not contented with wealth. Will we be enjoying wealth when you come to see us in the end? Will we? Shall we live as long as you are in power? Do you think we are going to live forever when you are there? Nobody knows when you steal into my house. So, according to me, that is the only boon I want. Tell me, is there death? Or is there something that does not die? This is the boon I seek. Having approached the undecaying immortality, what decaying mortal on this earth who meditates on the pleasures of beauty and love will delight in an overlong life? How long can we delight in these matters? Which mortal who is intelligent, who has his right brains, will want that when we know that you can come in at any time? So I don't want these things. Don't try to tease me. Don't try to. I'm not that type. Tell us about which they doubt, O death. Is there a passing on? The great passing on? Or is there something that is forever there? This boon which penetrates the mystery, no other than that does this Nachiket choose. Then, section 2, Yama begins to explain to Nachiketas. Having tested him enough and heard you keep your song and dance, he says, okay, now I shall explain to you. And then he says, begins by saying, different is the good and different indeed is the pleasant. Pleasant. Hmm? There is Shreya is different from what? Yes. They are say. It starts by saying, please differentiate between that which is good and that which is pleasant. He's saying they're not both the same. They're two different things. It starts like that. These two with different purposes bind a man. When I say man here, I mean it means human being. Ladies don't think it binds only men. Of these two, it is well for him who takes hold of the good, but he who chooses only the pleasant fails to get his aim. One who chooses the pleasant cannot find what you're looking for. You have to choose the good over the pleasant. Now, when you choose the good, sometimes it may be unpleasant, may not be so enjoyable at the moment. So, the trinkets that you gather here may not be so useful. Hello, when you want to, I thought one young Nachiketas is hanging on me. What if he asked me how to conquer death? So, he says, first let me begin like this. This is the importance of the Upanishad. Oh, this is what you asked, this is the answer. No. It says, understand this slowly. First, understand the difference between the good and the pleasant. Okay. Choose the good over the pleasant. Then, both the good and the pleasant approach a human being in this world. The wise man, pondering over them, discriminates. The wise chooses the good in preference to the pleasant. The simple-minded, for the sake of worldly well-being, prefer the pleasant. What if goodness comes to us in a very unpleasant form? Who would want to accept it? Most human beings won't. Nachiketas would. Because for him the good is more important than the pleasant. This is the kind of aspirant or inquirer who would ultimately reach the truth. This is the lesson of the Katha Upanishad. But you, Nachiketas, you have rejected, after examining the desires that are pleasant and seem to be pleasing, thou hast not taken to the way of wealth where many mortals sink to ruin. You have not chosen that which many people desire and sink. You have chosen the truth as against that which is untrue but it seems so true. Looks so true. Looks so pleasant, so happy, when finally it creates more problems than when you don't have it. I'm not saying that you should go home today and sell everything and get out. That's not what I'm saying. We should, while we are living in this world, understand this fact that happiness does not come through gathering wealth, but by understanding that the essence of happiness lies in us somewhere deep down, which would probably free us from death. Money is not going to free us from death. Why do you think many young people in the West are now interested in the spiritual? Because they have lived a life of dollars and euros. They have seen the extent to which it can take them. That's it. They know beyond this, it cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy happiness. So they turn around and look around in the West, in the East, and they say, oh, there is something here, let's look for it. Unfortunately, they fall in traps. That's a different story. Because there are many snake charmers in this world. So, Yama says to Nachiketas, you Nachiketas have rejected after examination the desires that are pleasant and seem to be pleasing. You have not taken to the way of gathering wealth where many mortals sink to ruin. widely apart and leading to divergent ends are these ignorance and what is known as wisdom. You see, there are two words. One is wisdom, the other is ignorance. Wisdom is when you see the temporariness of all that you gather and say, this cannot be. Wisdom is when you actually realize this. And ignorance is when you don't understand this. You, I know, Nachiketas, are eager for the wisdom. None of the desires which I offered distracted you. So you are ready to understand this truth. Now, there is a fifth sloka which I want to read original in Sanskrit because it is very interesting. You would have thought that this comes from Shakespeare. This is 1500 years maybe, or 1000 years before Shakespeare. I am wondering if Shakespeare read the Upanishads. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhira panditam manyamanaha dandram yamanaha pariyanti mudha andham andheneva niyamana yatandaha, which means abiding in the midst of ignorance. The wise who think they are wise, in their own esteem, thinking themselves to be learned, fools threading a tortuous path, go about trying to lead others. And how are they leading others? Andheineva niyamana yatandaha, like the blind men leading the blind. Both fall into a pit, you know that. I don't know why the Upanishad introduced this verse in between. The probable reason is to show that when they say wisdom, they are not talking about gathering knowledge. When Pandita is mentioned, one who has read enough, too much. So when you read, suppose I know all the Upanishads by heart, and I know all then I think I have found the Upanishads. The truth? No. There may be, on the other hand, somebody who knows nothing, who has not read the Shastras, who knows nothing. He is not a Pandita. But he has wisdom. Why? Because he has Shraddha. And has a mind not drawn by collecting knowledge, but by understanding. So there is a difference between understanding and knowledge. Understanding is the knowledge. Today, actually, you don't have to carry so much stuff in your head. We have got Google, G. Go in and check on the search engine. You will find everything. Why are you carrying it in your head? The more you carry, the more you are weighed down, and then you become full of pride. I know this, And such people, according to the Upanishad, not according to me, when they guide others, thinking that they know, andhaineva niyamana yatandaha, it's like the blind leading the blind. Please, if there are Pandits here, I am not saying anything about that. The only thing is, it's wonderful to learn and understand and have, but the pride of saying that I have understood because I have learned is what destroys one. Now, there is a beautiful statement in the Ishavasya Upanishad which defines understanding and knowledge very beautifully. We have 5 more minutes, so before we go home and it starts raining, we need to do that. 5 minutes तो रहेगा ना. So I'm searching for the Ishavasya. I'm not a Pandita, okay? 565. kurvanyeveha karmani yasmin sarvani bhutani. Oh, here, this chapter, this part of the Ishavasya Upanishad, Ishavashyamidam Sarvam, the great 20-verse Upanishad, very short, describes ignorance and knowledge very beautifully. It goes like this. Andham tama pravishantiyo avidyayam upasate tato bhuya yivate tamo yau vidyayam rata. If I literally translate it, it means, into blinding darkness enter those who worship ignorance. Now everybody will say, that we know, because we are not ignorant. So that we understand. Wonderful. If you worship ignorance, certainly you will enter into darkness. We understand. There will be a smile. Then comes the shock, the bombshell. And those, tato bhuya yivate tamo yahu vidyayam ratha. And those who delight in knowledge enter into still greatest darkness, as it. Please, this sloka is very, also because it's written in this language, it has a cadence to it. Look how it reads. Andham tama pravishantiyo avidyayam upasate tato bhuya yivate tamo yau vidyayam rata. Into blinding and darkness enter those who worship ignorance, but those who delight in knowledge enter into still greater darkness, as it were. Which does not mean that you should close down all universities. So we need to look at this very closely tomorrow. Okay? Because it's very important to what Nachiketas learns in the Katha Upanishad. If that was the case, if they're talking about closing down universities, they would not have been Takshashila, Nalanda and all these universities. It's not that. It's something quite different. And when we go deeply into this, you'll understand what the seer in the Upanishad meant by this. And this is exactly what Nachiketas is being told by Yama. Those who think that because they are learned, can lead others proud in their own knowledge, such people are those who lead the blind into greater darkness, the blind leading the blind. Because wisdom comes when the heart opens. Wisdom does not come when you fill yourself with just information. Everybody has information. Now, information is in the touch of a button. You don't have to worry. So, this is the kind of awareness that you need. If you need to go into the Upanishad, if you don't want to go into the Upanishad, that's fine. Absolutely fine. There are some people who never did the Upanishads but found the truth. But I think we consider ourselves educated people and therefore we like to learn. So, and I think we are all sincere. Who would sit here with the risk of rain coming at any time and enjoy that? Nobody will do that. So I'm glad. Please understand that if I can understand it, I'm a man like you. You can understand. This is what I want to make clear. Don't think I'm some fallen from heaven. I was born in the womb of a mother like you. And if I can understand it, so was Adi Shankara. If you can understand it. Put a little mind into it. You don't have to do anything else. Don't change your robes. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't shave your heads. Don't have a tuft. Do nothing. Just by, this is a fashion. So just by understanding, one can find this. Understanding means also that the heart, we will come to that. It's not just the brain. Not just the brain. In that case, very intelligent scientists would have already discovered that truth. Spiritual, no. Some have, some haven't. So it's not applicable. So it's exactly 7:30, 1 hour since we started. Enough time to digest. Go home and come back tomorrow and we'll get into more interesting things. And If you have some questions tomorrow, please write them in a piece of paper. Don't ask me where is Babaji hiding, how to find him. Write in relevant to the subject, okay? Relevant to the subject. Write in a piece of paper and give to the people here. I can get half an hour to 40 minutes. I'll go through the papers and try to answer as much as I can. I'm only hoping that you won't have any question. No, you will have. So, thank you very much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sir.
ತುಂಬ ಹೃದಯದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಗುರುಗಳೇ. ನಾಳೆ ಸಂಜೆ ಸೇರೋಣ 6:30ಗೆ. ಒಂದು 15-20 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾಳೆ ಕೊನೆ ದಿವಸ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೇಪರು ಪೆನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಬನ್ನಿ ಮರಿದೆ ನಾಳೆ ಕೇಳೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ. ಶುಭರಾತ್ರಿ.
Now it doesn't mind if it rains, right? So let's. Indra is waiting.